Okay, so basically, what happened to VHS tapes? VHS tapes were very, 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 very popular in the 1980s, 1990s. Usually, when kids went to school, they would get a bunch of blank VHS tapes from the store, and they would put it in and record their shows while they went to school. Or they had a timer. See, a lot of people don't remember. I grew up. I'm 30 years old. I know I look about 15, 14, 15, but I have life experience. I grew up in the 90s. I grew up in the early 2000s. I know what it's like to. I remember using my. I used to use VHS tapes all the time to when I used to record Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon shows back in the early 2000s. I went to school and then I put a timer on, and usually those tapes ran a long time. So back in the day, you get a 2 4 hour VHS tapes. Those tapes could run maybe 2 to 4 hour, 5 hour tapes. Those are the cheap ones. If you bought a really good blank VHS tape, there are some blank tapes that can go 8 hours. So I was so happy to go to school and to come back and then watch all my favorite shows that I missed. I couldn't watch because I had to be to school by 8 o'clock in the morning back in the 1990s. And I would just put it in. You could put it in play, or you put a timer on, and it usually records it. Or you can have your family members do it while you go somewhere, and then you can. That's what I did when I went on vacation. And back in 2000, we're talking, God, 21 years ago. I was like 9 years old, 9 or 10. I had my cousin record a whole marathon on Cartoon Network. They were doing a whole marathon of the Powerpuff Girls back in 2000. And I wasn't able to do it because I had to go with my family to go somewhere. So I had my cousin, who was like 13, 14, get a bunch of blank VHS tapes and record the whole marathon for me. He did it. It was like 4 hours each. I was so happy. But yeah, VHS, before we had streaming. Streaming is popular now in 2021, but we didn't have that 21 years ago, 22 years ago. All we had was VHS tapes. And it wasn't until 2005 when people had this DVDs could be recorded. You could record TV shows on DVDs. I remember I never really liked that though. I did it, but it just didn't feel comfortable. I felt more comfortable using VHS tapes. Plus, DVDs can break easy. VHS tapes are unbreakable. You cannot break it. We can slam on the ground and it won't break. I mean, if you slam it hard enough, it'll break. But it's just that if you pull the string, then it'll break. You have to make sure you don't pull the string. I remember having somebody pull the tape out the string. I was so upset. But I love VHS tapes because they were unbreakable. Also, the worst thing about VHS tapes is that sometimes people don't, you have to rewind a movie, and that would take about 5 or 6, 10 minutes. DVDs are perfectly better because you can just use the menu and go to scenes and you can actually play it, but you don't have to rewind the movie. VHS tapes, you have to rewind it. See, I grew up in the 90s. I know what life was like back then because it was my life. And I kind of I love DVDs. It's way better than having VHS tapes. But VHS tapes were convenient, but just not when it comes to nostalgia. Because I have a lot of tapes that I recorded back in the 1990s. I have over 300 tapes, over 300 or 400 tapes in my basement that I recorded over the course of my life from the 1990s from different various TV shows. So it's cool. Mr. Jacob.